Aloha and welcome back. We're going to be taking a look at our second part of the LED. We're going to be looking at the mini table lamp. And what I want to go over here, the main thing that we're going to be learning about here is that the functionality that we're looking to find is a little bit different. Before, we had a situation where when you press down the LED, we're going to have it the LED light up while we held it down. And then when we released it, it was just going to turn it off. Well, here we're talking about a mini table lamp. And what they mean by that is they mean a lamp, a traditional lamp where you go and you push the button and it stays on, and you go push it again and it toggles it to off. So that's what they're talking about here. And we're talking about specifically, there's an issue when you're using a push button, a momentary push button, right after you change from one state to another. It's not, to the human eye, it's instantaneous. We can't really tell a difference. It's on, it's off. It's like, wow, it's really quick. But our microcontroller here can actually sense that little area, the time that they call bounce. And there's this bounce that happens after you press. So here they're saying, in an ideal state, you're going to have it up, and then when you press it, it's going to go down, to off, and then as soon as you release it, it's going to go back up to stable. What's actually happening is you've got it, when it's pressed and you've got it up and you depress it, there's this period when it bounces around called buffeting, and it takes a couple fractions of a second to stabilize and get to the down state. And then if you were to release it, it would bounce around a little bit and take a while to go to the up state. So you have this little buffeting area. So we need to account for that. And all this 2.2 really is doing is it's accounting for that in the code, and it changes the while loop a bit to account for this. But it's going to sleep for, I think it's 20 milliseconds, because it's figured out that that period between the press and when it's stable, this buffeting time area is about 20 milliseconds, I believe. So we're going to do a timeout for that 20 milliseconds after something occurs. So all we have to do is open up our code that's in our directory. So go in there and find your 2.2 table lamp example. And what's going to happen, here it is, you press it down and it's going to light up. When you release, for just a fraction of a second, it's still going to be lit up, but it's going to go to off again. So we're going to take or actually, hold on, sorry. When we press it down, it's going to go to on state. When we release it, it's going to stay in the on state. When we click on it again, it's going to go into the off state. So it's going to function like a lamp does. So the code looks like this, and I'll show it to you in Visual Studio in just a second. But we're using the same code up here that we used before. But we're going in here, we're setting up a reverse GPIO. All this is doing is it's toggling. So it's saying if LED value, in other words, the value on the pinout is, it's reverse that. So if the value is 0, if LED value is, and that means if this is 1 or true, then it's going to reverse that. It's going to send not true, 0. Else, we're going to send the opposite, which is the 1. So if it's on, we're going to switch it off. If it's off, we're going to switch it on. So that's what we're doing here. And so this is a definition that we've set up, a function. So then we run our code here. So we're setting up this eternal loop, and we're going in there and we're saying if not a button value. And if you remember, button value is whether we're pressed or not. So if we are pressed down, we're going to sleep for 20 milliseconds because that's how long we're buffeting. And then we're going to check it again. We're going to say, hey, is it still in that state? If it's still in that state, we're going to reverse it. So we're going to go ahead, and if it was on, we're going to turn it off. If it was off, we're going to turn it on. And then after we do that, we're going to go into a loop again, and we're going to loop over the button value being the opposite. So we're going to say, pardon me. So we're going to go from here. If after buffeting and everything is over, if it's still in the same, then we're going to reverse it. and then we're going to do a wait here. We're going to do that wait while it's not button.value, and we're going to sleep it for 20 milliseconds. Then we're going to go back, we're going to check it again. We're going to keep on doing that. And once that clears out, we're going to go back up here and we're going to start the whole process over again. So what that looks like in actuality is, let me go ahead and switch our screen here. So I'm going to stop the share and we're going to be looking over here. So let me go and load that code that I was just showing you. So I'm going to go ahead and load the code and I'm going to run it. So when I run it now on the Pico, we're going to see that I push it like this, then let go, and it stays on. If I push it again, it stays off. So we've changed the functionality here just by, putting in that code that's going to be looking, and it's going to wait over that buffeting period. If we didn't do that wait of 20 milliseconds, what's going to happen is it's going to go in there, and when we push the button, it's going to be looking for a value, and it's going to see that it's switched again, and it's going to see that, and it's going to, it's going to actually find multiple, while it's buffeting going up and down, it's going to be turning the light on and off as we go. So we don't want that. So that's why we're going in here and waiting. So this is the lamp functionality for LEDs. So I hope that has been helpful in setting this up. As I said before, all of this is the same setup that we had from our last project. The only thing we're doing is in code, we're changing it so that the functionality is, instead of when we hold it on, hold it down only, is it going to stay on? We're changing it to, this is going to be a toggle switch for on and off. And we're having to take care of waiting for that buffeting period where the signal is stabilizing. So anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'd be happy to help you. Other than that, stay tuned. We'll have the next lesson up shortly.